I now invite Mr. Allan Houston to come to the podium for a presentation of an honorary Doctor of Humanities. This degree represents the university's acknowledgement and appreciation of the work Mr. Houston has done around the world to promote knowledge and understanding. Mr. Houston, you've come already, that's great. Mr. John Schultes and Mr. David Traynor, who is Associate Vice Chancellor for Human Resources of the Connecticut State University system, will assist me.
By virtue of the authority vested in me, the trustees of the Connecticut State University system concurring, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and invest you with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereunto. In token thereof, I hand to you the diploma and direct that you be vested with the hood appropriate to your degree.
Now let me formally introduce our speaker. As Assistant General Manager for the New York Knicks, Dr. Houston is also an international ambassador for the NBA, spokesperson for the National Fatherhood Initiative, ESPN analyst, and book author. Before his retirement from the court in 2005, he was unanimously considered one of the NBA's all-time greatest long-range shooters and one of the all-time leading scorers in Knicks history. And he has admitted special pride in being named one of the good guys in sports by the Sporting News for 4 times, and in helping Team USA bring home the gold in the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney, Australia. Despite that long list of accomplishments, it is Dr. Houston's dedication to helping others through his Legacy Foundation that separates him from the ranks of superstar athletes. The foundation has served more than 1,500 people across the country through its original programs on fatherhood and entrepreneurship, and by promoting family, by providing economic empowerment through entrepreneurship, by encouraging education and life skill development, and by enhancing spiritual growth. A 1993 graduate of the University of Tennessee who played for his coach and father, Wade, he himself was in 2007 named Father of the Year by the National Fatherhood Initiative. A year later, he was named Social Entrepreneur of the Year by Tulane University, and in 2011, Dr. Houston received the President's Council on Service and Civic Engagement Award from the Obama administration. He is currently co-producing a film project that addresses the social, spiritual, and educational impacts of fatherlessness. As a testament to the values Allan Houston espouses, he and his wife, Tamara, will have been married for 15 years this August and have 6 beautiful children. Dr. Houston, you will wear well your success as a leader, a mentor, and a role model. I am very proud to present you as the speaker at Western Connecticut State University's 2011 Commencement.
Dr. Houston, I don't know if I'm gonna get used to that one. Well, good morning. How you guys doing? This is a great looking class, I gotta tell you. I've been able to do this a few times. This is a wonderful looking class. Um, thank you. It's a it's a beautiful day. I'm extremely thankful for this honor. You know, as someone who had parents who instilled education as a strong value in my family, it's a real proud day for me. So I wanted you all to give yourself a round of applause for this, because this is a truly wonderful accomplishment. I know that I'm gonna try to raise this up a little bit. You know, Doc is about 6'4" himself, so I know he's used to me raising this microphone. You know, when I was growing up, again, I mentioned my parents. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and did I hear somebody say, "Whoa"? You're just in the mood of screaming right now, I think. And you know, Louisville was a town, small Midwestern / Southern town, and we grew up with a lot of strong values, and education was a huge thing for us. Both of my parents were teachers. My wife, until we started having a lot of kids, is a teacher, and she still is a teacher. She still is a teacher at home. She does it 24 hours a day in our house. And there are many consistencies with which, parenthood, coaching, and teaching, I think they're very similar. But the values that I grew up with my parents were very strong. But having those values were different than knowing my true value. They taught me the values of faith, the value of hard work, of humility, of leadership, sacrifice. But I think that's a little different from knowing true value in a sense. When I retired a few years ago, it was a crazy time, as you can imagine. I still have people asking me, when are you coming back? I'm like, never coming back. I know it's an honor for you to even ask me, to look like I might be able to, but I'm not coming back. I'm too old now. You guys can't see these little grays in my beard. But one of the things that stuck out to me when we would talk about the transition, and when the Knicks asked me to move into the front office, I considered it a true honor, because there was something that I guess that they saw that I could add. But one night my wife and I were talking, and she said, now you're going to have to add value in a different way. And that really stuck with me, because she said, now in today's world, and as you go into the workforce, as you go into your social environment, one of the things that stuck with me is she said, how are you going to add true value? And it makes me really appreciative of being here, because just a few days ago, I was in Chicago. In Chicago now, every year, the new NBA draftees, they come into Chicago, they go through their process of working out for teams, and you go through the interviews. And I always love the interviews when you're interviewing potential draftees, because you get to know who they really are. And they get to tell you where they came from. They get to tell you what motivated them and what this experience that they've had going to school. Now, most of the guys now have only been in school for 2 years, and so they haven't been in this environment. But the one thing that really sticks out to me when I have these conversations is there's always a couple of guys that really have a resounding interview. And what makes that interview resounding is because they have a much bigger picture on how they're going to add true value to the organization. They know who they are, and they know what they can add other than points and production as a person. I think the one thing today that I would like to drive home, it's really going to be who you are as a person. It's who you are as a person that's going to really add true value. Because no matter your calling, no matter your path, no matter your interest, it's vital to know your true value. When I was in my third year with the Knicks, I believe, we had a very, very intense playoff series. And I don't know if it was a Heat. And somebody said Heat. It felt like all of them were like that. But this one particular series was very, very intense. And we lost the playoff game. It was in Madison Square Garden, and everybody hates to see a loss in Madison Square Garden in the playoffs. And I remember walking off the court and having my head down. And I walked through the tunnel, and of course you can hear not so kind words coming from fans as you walk through that tunnel. But that day on the way home, I got a phone call from a friend of mine. And a friend of mine said, I was expecting him to say, hey, man, it's okay. You know, you played hard. It's a good game. Don't worry about it. But what he said will never, ever leave my head. And he said, Allan, don't ever let me see you walk with your head down after a game. And I said, what do you mean? I didn't really realize it. He said, Allan, a child of God never has their head down just because they lose. And that really stuck with me because what he was telling me is that no matter how many points I scored, no matter my production, no matter what people thought of me, he said, your true value is not based on that. Your true value is based on you have a true purpose and a true calling that's much bigger than a game of basketball. And I would encourage all of you, all of us, to realize that everyone in this, I was going to say building, but we're not in a building, but everyone here has a true special calling on their life. And I'm truly convinced of that because you realize having 6 kids, you realize when you walk into a gym, you realize when you walk into a school and you have a team, everyone has a specific goal and a specific purpose. And when you realize that you have that specific calling on your life, I think it really enhances and encourages your true identity. So when I think about that, I thought about that time when he reminded me that my true purpose and my true calling is not tied to just the game of basketball. It's tied to who I am, a child of God. Every single day when I come home, or even when I'm on the road, I'll remind every one of my kids how much I love them. I have to. Because when they're sitting in these seats a few years from now, and they will be sitting in these seats if it's up to me and my wife. Everybody says, Al, you don't have to work anymore. You don't have to work anymore. You're all set. I'm like, well, I want all 6 of them to be sitting in these seats, so I'm going to keep working and make sure that happens. But every time I walk into the house or leave the house or call them on the phone, I have to remind them that they're special. They are children of God. And I have to remind them that is the most important thing to understanding their true value. Another thing about understanding your true value is it helps you understand true commitment. Because once you know your true value, you understand that it's not about you. One of my best teammates that I've ever had, the one quality, the one trait that everyone would say about this one person was he was totally selfless. And when you're totally selfless, your commitment, your activity is not based on your own personal circumstance. And I think that is the mark of true commitment. And it's one of those things where, again, going back to my kids, when you also have a big family, you understand that it's not about you. Sometimes my oldest daughter, who's 12, she'll get upset with us because we'll ask her to do something for a 7-month-old daughter, or my son, who is the only one the only son out of 6. I know, you all pray for him too. But the one thing that I'm so proud of is when he goes into his classroom or his school, when he goes on his team, you can see that he understands that it's not about him. He's being conscious of others. And I think that's one of the things about knowing your true value is that you're conscious of others. You're not just worried about your own situation. You're not just worried about me. And I think that adds value to any social environment, any workplace, any place you're going to go. Finally, true value reveals true destiny. One of the questions I always like to ask any of the players that come, any of the young students that come through our foundation, one question I like to ask them is, what would you like your legacy to be? What do you want people to say about you? Because every time, some kind of impression on them. And every time you're with that person or with someone, you're going to leave another impression or the same one. You know, most players, when I ask them that question, they say, well, I just want to win. Okay, well, what happens after you win? Then what? And I just had a great conversation with Miss Mercedes, who I think you'll listen to in a few minutes. Great conversation before we walked in. And she said, you know, when we leave here, there's going to be something else. It was intriguing for me to hear from her because she's already thinking about what her legacy is going to be after this. What is the next thing? What is her destiny? And I think when I think about that word legacy, one thing my father would always tell me, he would say, Allan, it's not about what you do, it's how you do it. So when I remind some of the guys, it's one thing to win, but it's another thing to understand how you win. So I would hope that you would understand that your true value, your true purpose, true commitment, and true destiny is what I would like to leave you with today. May God continue to bless you, and please don't call me doctor quite yet, all right? May God bless you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Houston.